My name is Elena, and I am a patient of Dr. Ilya's, and I've been a patient for 1.5 years now. And before I really get into what he does or what my experience has been with him, I wanted to share a little bit about my experience with my health. And I haven't really felt well since I was a teenager. My symptoms really started exacerbating when I was in college. I remember I was on birth control at the time to help clear up my skin. I was overweight, I had acne, and I would cry over little things, and I would cry for hours, and it was not normal. I was aware that it was not normal. I didn't know why it was happening. I didn't feel depressed most of the time. I would see like an old person on TV and start crying. So that went on for many years. When I was about 24, I joined my business partner, and we began Luminance Skincare online. And at the time it was very exciting, but I wasn't well. I would get home at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I would go directly to bed. I would not sleep because I wasn't sleepy, but I was exhausted, I was fatigued. I had a lot of anxiety. If I had plans with friends, I would cancel them at the last minute. I had good intentions. I knew that I wanted to see my friends and that would make me happier. And when the time would come, I would get very upset because I didn't want to go. I didn't feel well. I didn't know how to explain it to them. It was embarrassing. My world was shrinking. I would stay in bed until it was time to cook dinner. I'd get myself out of bed, I'd cook dinner, and then I'd go back to bed and I'd go to sleep. I knew it wasn't good for me and it wasn't healthy, but I didn't feel up for anything that was healthy or good for me. At this time, I experimented with amino acids. I tried taking tryptophan. I tried taking GABA. Anything that I thought would make me better. I read books about it. Any little hints, I was like, oh, maybe this is the cure that I need, and this will make me better. And it did a little bit, but I would get headaches because I was taking so much. I would fall asleep in the middle of the day if I took too much tryptophan. I mean, that wasn't what was wrong with me. I wasn't just low on tryptophan. You know, it was much bigger than that. And I was still have little crying spells, and I wouldn't know what would trigger them, or I would be sitting there crying and saying, I'm not that sad, but I'm just beside myself and almost hysterical. And I was able to kind of do this in the privacy of my home, and I didn't feel good about it. And it was very upsetting to know that I was unwell, know that this wasn't normal. I was in therapy because I recognized that I needed help, and I just didn't know how to give myself that help. I'd been to Kaiser and gotten tests done, and they said I was normal. And it wasn't until later that I learned that they just do a bell curve of everyone that walks in there, and if you fall within the normal range, then you're considered normal. It's not, they don't take into consideration your symptoms, and they don't take into consideration what is actually healthy. And I was reading self-help books, I was going to therapy, I was doing a lot. I was doing literally everything I knew how to do. When I exercised, I would feel worse the next day. I would feel more relaxed. My anxiety would go down a little bit, but then I'd get mental fog. I'd start sentences, and halfway through the sentence, I would forget what I was saying. And it got to the point where I remember telling my mom, I was crying, and I was like, I used to be smart. I used to be one of the smartest people in the room. I was 2 years ahead in calculus in high school. I was taking college classes. I was an honors student. I graduated with honors from the university, and here I was. I would joke, I don't even know my own name. I couldn't spell my name correctly some days. And this was just, it was hard. It was really frustrating. I felt like I wasn't living my life. I got to the point where I started asking everyone I know about, how have you ever dealt with anything like this? how do you suggest I get help? And I found out that there was a thing called a naturopath, which was a doctor that was trained to prescribe, instead of pharmaceuticals, herbs and tinctures and stuff like that that were not synthetic. And so I found, based off a recommendation, I started going to a naturopath in my hometown, and $700 later, 2 visits later, I wasn't really feeling any better, and my acne had gotten worse, and I was strung out. They gave me something to give me more energy because they thought that's what I needed, and it didn't work for my body, and I was worse off for it and broke. So that was very disempowering. I was kind of scared to do it again. I didn't have a lot of extra money. I was building a business. All of my money and energy was going into that, and it hadn't taken off. And yet I was still dealing with all these symptoms, and it became more and more urgent every day to get better. And I was very stuck. And then through work, I met someone who was perimenopausal, and she was dealing with a lot of the same symptoms that I was. And she was like, absolutely, what you're talking about, that anger, that crying, the hysteria, all of that is hormonal. I also had bloating and bad digestion my entire life. And she was like, yep, all of that. Come see my doctor. Well, she also had a naturopath, and it was a different one. And she was having such great results that I decided to give it another try. This naturopath did labs of we did blood work, we did saliva tests, and I got results back that said that I had Hashimoto's, which is when it's an autoimmune disease when your body attacks your thyroid. So my immune system was attacking my thyroid, which explained why I had no energy and why I just felt like total crap all the time. And then my results for my hormones were that I wasn't making any progesterone. Progesterone is what makes women calm, and in the second half of our cycle. So after we ovulate, the second 14 days, that's mainly progesterone driven. And that's when I was having these big breakdowns. So that was very empowering. And that changed my life right there. She prescribed me bioidentical progesterone. And I would I started off taking a little bit, and then I kept wanting more and more because it made me feel so much better. And my life got a lot better. I was even, I was relaxed. I didn't get these angry spells as often. But so I did that for about 1.5 years, and I was taking tons of supplements. I mean, every vitamin you can imagine. I knew what was wrong with me at this point, so I started researching stuff online, and I found that there is a community of people with Hashimoto's that are like, yeah, this sucks, and modern medicine doesn't deal with this very well, and it's more about lifestyle changes, and the naturopath that I was seeing wasn't very extreme. So she was more like, no, just take a few supplements, your body will even out, and that didn't happen for me. I was never able to get off of the supplements, but my life had improved so much that, I didn't worry about it too much, and I did that for about 1.5 years. So my business partner told me about Dr. Ilya, and I guess Dr. Ilya had found out about us, our products, Luminance Skincare at a farmer's market, and he liked that we didn't use any synthetic or toxic ingredients. And through that exchange, my business partner started working with Dr. Ilya. He was a patient, and I saw huge changes with him. And at this point, I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. My naturopath had convinced me that, yeah, well, I had Hashimoto's, it wasn't my major issue, hormonal imbalance was, and I could pretty much go on with my life and ignore that. So that's what I did, and I wasn't thinking that I needed to spend more attention on my health. But I decided to give Dr. Ilya a try anyways. And that was a year and a half ago, and oh, my life has gotten so much better in that year and a half. It's kind of funny to think that I didn't need help at that time. But that's really what I thought. I thought, my life is pretty good. I'm stable. I've let go of a lot of toxicity from my life. I've left a bad relationship. I feel relaxed. I'm in control of my emotions. I feel better than I have since I was 6, right? And so I went and I saw Dr. Ilya just out of curiosity. And at this point, I was still having some anxiety and I didn't know why, and I was having headaches from the progesterones that I was taking. I was taking really high doses to the point where that's how much progesterone pregnant women make. I had no idea that progesterone was toxic for the body, and actually all hormones are toxic for the body if your digestion isn't working. That's something Dr. Ilya taught me. He's like, no, that's bad, you need to get off it. But I'm like, my body makes it, or it should make it. How is that bad? And he's like, your digestion is not working, you need it out of your system. It's just backing up your liver and making it impossible for you to have optimum health. I remember being so impressed because through muscle testing and without any kind of labs, he was able to diagnose me with the exact same diagnosis that my old naturopath had. He said, yes, you have Hashimoto's, you have, I forget everything that he said, but he talked about my kidneys, my liver. He went organ by organ and talked about what was working and what wasn't. And this was way more information than my old doctor had. And then I pulled out paperwork that confirmed everything that he said. And he said, oh, see, you already knew this. He's like, you need help. I said, well, I thought that my main issue was with hormones. And he said, no, your thyroid directs your hormones. So to focus on your hormones is not going to change your hormones. Focus on your thyroid and that will change your hormones. And he was right. It's been a year and a half since I've been working with Dr. Ilya. He's changed, this partnership, and I say a partnership because I feel like I do a lot of the hard work. He tells me what to do and he treats me and he gives me supplements, but really if I mess up the lifestyle factors, then he's not healing me, I'm just not healing myself. He has given me the tools that I need to heal myself, and he's teaching me how to read my body, how to understand signs, like I need way more sleep than I was getting. And when I do that, when I sleep more, when I eat properly, when I eat enough protein, when I drink enough water, when I drink clean water, my body can heal itself. And I also have to avoid things based on my, health. And if I don't avoid them, there's not a lot of room for error. And yeah, I can go back and get treated again, but I still have to continue to make the decision to heal myself. And this is both challenging and empowering because I know how to care for myself now. I'm in control of my health. And this is, it's amazing. I'm getting emotional. But I haven't been in control of my health and I haven't been in control of my life. And all of a sudden I am, and it takes work and it's totally worth it. And it's truly amazing what I've been able to do with the help of Dr. Ilya, what he's empowered me to do, or what we've done together in my health. I couldn't give him a higher recommendation. I'm just about to cry right now because it's just, what do you have? What did I have? I didn't have anything. I couldn't see my friends. I couldn't enjoy my days off. I couldn't enjoy my time off. I wasn't able to think clearly. My self-esteem was in the gutter. All of that has changed, and I'm doing this in a way that doesn't harm my body. What I'm doing now is building a foundation for wellness. I stopped going to therapy a couple months after seeing Dr. Ilya because I felt so well that I wasn't upset. I wasn't getting angry as often. I didn't feel needy. I didn't feel inclined to be in a codependent relationship, which I had been in before, and a lot of that was my doing. I was making healthy choices for myself, and it was easy and it was what I wanted to do. I'm close with my family, I'm close with my parents. I'm actually probably one of the healthiest people that I know now, in spite of my autoimmune disease. I look around and I'm like, oh yeah, I know what's wrong with you, but you don't want to hear it. No one wants to hear it because no one wants to make those changes, but I think they would. They would if they understood how easy it is and how much better life can get, and how I'm really living my life. It's funny because I feel like there's a magic in my life now. Now that I'm up for adventure, I didn't used to be. I used to just hide and I didn't have any energy, and I would stay in bed and I would cook and I would do the bare minimum. And shopping felt like a chore. And of course it is, but it's just one part of life, right? So buying food, it felt awful. And now I'm able to do all the things that I have to do laundry, go grocery shopping, cook. And I still have this kind of appetite for adventure, which I hadn't had since I was a kid, and I was a very adventurous kid. You couldn't leave me alone for 5 minutes without me climbing something or wanting to go somewhere, and I have that again. And my business is growing. We're doubling. We've been doubling every year. And you know, we have 6 full-time employees now, 4 part-time employees. That's my baby, and it's successful, and the healthier I get, the more my business grows. And I see that with my appearance. The healthier I get, the more beautiful I find myself. And maybe that's just in the eye of the beholder. I see myself in a better way, but I think it's other people let me know how I look too. And it's just very exciting. I haven't been sick in over 1.5 years. And this is very significant for me because part of Hashimoto's is having a really weak immune system. And I remember even in college, I used to be sick every other week. And my mom would say, oh, it's the stress. Sure, it's the stress, but it's also like almost strep throat at this point. And I would have real symptoms, and I would just be, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel good. And after eating, about 1.5 hours after eating, I would be very, very tired. I would be ready for a nap. And all of that is gone. I haven't been sick. I don't get tired after I eat. I don't have these highs and lows. My blood sugar is balanced, which has gotten rid of pretty much all of my emotional turmoil, my anxiety. It's really that simple, but it hasn't always been easy, and especially with infections. So I've dealt a lot with infections, some that I was aware of and some that I wasn't aware of that I had. This was contributing to my acne, to my moodiness, to my fatigue. And Dr. Ilya has treated all of them. I've been able to get rid of them without antibiotics. I haven't taken antibiotics in over 1.5 years. My attitude became, what can I do? Oh, that's it? That's all? Oh, okay. That's all I need to do in order to get better, in order to have my life back, in order to have health. And that was a conscious shift on my part, because some of the things are challenging. Lifestyle changes are challenging, and I made the decision to do that. And Dr. Ilya has supported me the entire way. When my thinking goes back to, oh, I want to live like everyone else and I want to do what everyone else does, he points out to me, yeah, but everyone else isn't very healthy. Our country is 60th in health, which means that things that we think that we take for granted as healthy or acceptable in this country are not. They're bad habits for your health. And if you want to be healthy, then you have to be different from that. And so he champions this path, which is best for me. So he champions me, and he champions my health. And I always want to use our appointments. I always want to use our appointments to ask questions. Like, I had this happen, and I had this, and why does this supplement help with this? And you know, I noticed that my eye was a little bit swollen, and I know the eyes are associated with the kidneys, and can you tell me more about this? I just want to pick his brain because he knows so much. And he has to remind me, Elena, would you like me to treat you or would you like me to explain? I'm like, no, treat me. Just tell me what to read. He's a wealth of knowledge, and it's so interesting to me because now my health means, you know, my life. My health means I can do this, I can do that, I can have fun, I can be in love, I can travel the world, I can grow a business. That's what my health means, and that's what my relationship with Dr. Ilya has allowed me to do. So, yeah, it's powerful.